How about oligarchy? Clara, what's the key number? Yes. Any historical or fictional examples? Give me an example of an oligarchy. Jedi Council. Okay, think of a council. Is it like 5 or 10 dudes at a table? They have all the power? Yes. Okay, if they equally have the power, yeah. How about the Committee on Public Safety from the French Revolution? Robespierre and his 4 buddies who chopped off 10,000 heads in one summer. Whoa, they said it was a democracy, but 5 guys have all the power. 5 guys is an oligarchy.
So is that what a monarchy would be too?
Monarchy is usually one family or one person. Now, if the prince and the princess and those people actually have power, that might be an oligarchy. Okay? Now, the next one is a good example of how you have been lied to. Since kindergarten, you're like, America's a democracy. America's a democracy. America is not a democracy. It's a little more complicated than that. But what does pure democracy look like? All people have the power. Okay, do you see how we're not a perfect, equal, direct democracy? Historical example might be who? Ancient Athens. They rotated who's on the city council. You didn't even vote. Everyone took a turn. That's not how you picture democracy, but that's more democratic than what we do. So it'd be like saying, all right, congressman, this year it's Bo's dad. He's like, no, wait. I work for a national gas company. I don't know anything about politics. In Athens, they'd say, good, your turn to go to Washington, D.C. Now, in some ways, that might actually be a good thing. Because if you've read any laws lately, you have to have a JD, like a law degree, to understand laws, because you have a bunch of dudes who just write laws for a living writing them, and they're really complicated. Maybe we need some more like dudes from EOG and Big Piney writing laws, so they're more common sense. I don't know. But since we're not a democracy, which one did our founding fathers really set us up as more than any one other? Republicanism. That's not Donald Trump and elephants. Okay? Think of it like this. Instead of all the people having power, there's another step in the middle. The people elect the people who make the laws. So in other words, we vote on someone to represent us, and then they go make them on our behalf. If we don't like the laws they make or what they do, we kick them out and put in a new guy. So it is still democratic, but it's not as democratic. A republic means you vote for someone who then goes and has the power on your behalf. So they go to D.C. and say, on behalf of Tracy Pitlock, we need to make sure the speed limits are now 80 miles an hour. And you're like, yes, that's why I sent you to D.C. Good job. Does that make sense? So you still vote and have power, but now you don't vote on the laws. The guy you sent to D.C. or lady does. Okay, that's a republic. Are we a republic in the United States? Yes. In Wyoming, are we a republic? Yes. Yes. You don't get to vote on most laws. Okay? Now the last one's really easy. Picture the purge. No laws, no schools, no roads, no public health care. Someone breaks in your house and you call 911, no one answers. Because in anarchy, who governs? Nobody. There is no government. So somebody said, oh, like the Wild West. Kind of. The Wild West minus the sheriff in town. So you can't send your kids to school. You can't call 911. There's no paved road that your taxes built. You're on your own. That's anarchy. Okay? Now, how to organize your economy. Good news about this. There's only 2 real types of economies. Planned and free market. Anything else we just call mixed. So there's only 2 variables here. Here's how planned works. The government sets prices and production. So for example, let's say I'm the Soviet Union back during the Cold War. What type of government do they have? Communist. Does it kind of govern itself? One party. It's an autocracy. How do they organize their economy, goods and services? Yeah, we call that planned. So here's what you put for planned economy. Government controls prices and production. So let's say I work at the gum factory. Gum, chewing gum. In the Soviet Union, who picks how much gum I make in my gum factory? Comrade Stalin tells me how much, and if I don't make that much, he shoots me, and someone else will take over my factory. Because who really owns the factory? The government. They say the people, we say the government. And he tells me you will make 10,000 pieces of gum. That's production. The government tells you how many Nike shoes to make, or how many barrels of oil to produce. And they set the price. So you make 10,000 pieces of gum a week, and you sell them for 10 squat jacks a piece. That's set in stone. I don't control that as the guy making the gum. The government does. So, who wants a piece of gum for 10 squat jacks?
Right here.
It's pretty good. Okay, there you go. That's a planned economy. Now, what if Comrade Stalin set the price at 1,000 squat jacks? And no one's going to buy it. But here's what's crazy. He said to make 10,000 of them and set them at this price. Now they all sit in my warehouse and I don't make any money. But I have no control. That's how planned economies work. That sounds bad, doesn't it? Here's a good example, though. If you live in Venezuela today, one of the more oil-rich countries in the world, do you know what a gallon of gas costs? A gallon of gas. So you go to the gas pump in Wyoming, it's like $3.60, $3.70. Okay, the German exchange student this morning, it's about $8 or $9 a gallon in Germany. In Turkey, it's about 9 or 10. Do you know what it is in Venezuela? 3 or 4 cents a gallon. Okay, how is that even possible? You can't... and who owns the oil company? And the government says it's only a couple cents.
Which is good for the consumer.
Well,
compared to not being good for the price.
yeah, do you think the oil company's making money?
Exactly.
But there is no company. The government owns that company. There is no Exxon shareholder. It's just the government. Now, the bad thing is, if you live in Venezuela, you get cheap gas, but you probably don't own a car. You don't have free speech, and you're probably starving because their country's kind of a mess. But their government plans their economy and says, gas today is 5 cents.
Don't they have,
Yeah, that is socialism.
that's like incentive for it, right?
Socialism is shared ownership of goods.
So that's like the same thing.
It's Yellowstone National Park, right? We all own that. But now it's everything. Like your farm, the government, we all collectively share that. If you're poor, that sounds awesome. If you're rich, that sounds horrible.
Even if you're middle class, that sounds cool.
It depends. And it depends if you have a value that we call empathy. And do you feel more sorry for the rich people losing their money or the poor people who don't have that stuff now? We know how you feel. At least I do. Okay. Now, how does the free market work? Who sets the price? The marketplace sets the price. Put that down. The marketplace sets prices and production. Instead of the government telling you, the marketplace does. Write that down. And when you write that, you're sitting here going, okay, I'm taking notes, but I don't know what the heck that means. Like, I can't explain that. So let me give you 4 letters that will help you remember. eBay. Okay, how is the price or level of production, like how many things you sell, determined on eBay?
Who wants it?
Exactly. I had eBay open. So, I have a piece of gum, and I'm going to let the marketplace set the price. How do we do that? Bidding starts at 1 squat jack. Who wants it? There's 1. Give me 2. Okay, somebody give me 5 squat jacks. 5 squat jacks for a piece of gum. Do you want to do this? You can. Okay, 5 squat jacks. There's 5. Somebody give me 8. Give me 8. Who's setting the price right now?
You.
No, I'm not.
I got 6.
Okay, I'll set the price. I'll set the price. 10,000 squat jacks. I just said it in stone. What's going to happen now? So let's let the marketplace keep setting it. You're at 6. Okay, give me 10. Give me 10. Who's got 10 squat jacks? 8 going once. Somebody give me 10. Just bid it up. He'll go above you. Give me 10 squat jacks. Okay, 8 going twice. Don't let it sell that cheap. There's 10. Give me 11. 10 going once. Come on, somebody can bid it up. Going twice. Okay, who set the price that time of 10 squat jacks?
I already have a piece of
No.
gum now.
If it was up to you, what would you want the price to be?
Like $1.
Free. I don't like that as the guy who made the gum, right?
Yeah.
So who said it? Did I let you all have a chance to buy that?
Yeah.
What do we call that place where you go to exchange goods or services?
The market.
The market. It's eBay. You want to know what the going price is, put it on eBay. Okay, so let's use an example. Do you guys use eBay? Okay, my family owns a car dealership, so like haggling, I love going to Mexico because you barter for everything. You guys know that. There's no set price. Yeah, and you can put a minimum. I've only sold a few things on eBay. So, surprise, surprise, Tommy Pitlock gave me an example. He said, hey, you should do PlayStation 4s as your example. Okay? So here's a seller we found. Rush Hour Wholesaler. They have really good reseller ratings. That's a big deal if you use eBay. They've sold almost 5,000 PlayStations at that price. Do you think in the marketplace, $319.99, they've sold thousands of them? I don't know, but guess who determined that price? No, you want it for free. The market. So here's what the market is. Donovan and his fistful of cash and the guy with the PlayStation go meet and say, how much? And I'm like, $500. You want it? All right, does anyone else want it for $500? Now, what do I need to do to my price? What lowered my price? The market. Okay, and if you need a name for that force, the guy who kind of conceptualized capitalism, his name's Adam Smith. He said the force that causes me to lower my price, because Donovan nor anyone else would buy it for $500. Okay, how about $400? I have no idea if that's a good deal. He doesn't, but some guy in Ohio does. Sold. I'll ship it to you tomorrow. What guided me to lower my price? The invisible hand. Because if you sit there with a $1,000 PlayStation for sale on eBay, is it ever going to sell?
No.
This dude will undercut you. The invisible hand is like the force of the market. It's going to push you down because you sat there for a month and sold no PlayStations. Okay? So, we buy and sell in the marketplace. That's who sets the price. And the force that causes changes in the marketplace, we call the invisible hand. Put that down. You want to know that. The invisible hand forces us to change prices or production. Think of oil companies right now. Oil has been cheap for about a year and a half. What do they do to production levels? Cut it down. Because if you're cranking out a lot of oil and it sells dirt cheap, you're actually losing money, are you not? What do they do to their employment levels? Cut people from jobs so they don't have to pay them or they'll lose money. The force that's causing that is the invisible hand.
Or not being on the
Which, Mr. Walton, that brings us to a good question. Which of these two systems best fits our economic system in the United States? Mixed. What do we regulate? Like what?
the taxes.
What specific industries does the government actually set prices or controls on in America?
Cell phones and stuff like that.
Yes, cell phone plans are regulated. The government basically says there's a ceiling on how much you can charge, so you can't rip people off. Okay? Any other examples?
Insurance?
I don't think there's a price limit on like GM can't sell a truck for more than this. How about in the insurance business? That's a business, right? You must have health insurance. Since 2009, if you don't have health insurance, what happens in April when you pay your taxes? You get fined. And here's what Kyle Walton's Everywhere said. How can the government compel me to buy insurance? That's never happened. That's unconstitutional. I hate Obama.
That I'm not putting anyone else at risk of it. Compared to car insurance where
Okay.
you put other people at
First of all, can we talk about car insurance? Are you compelled to have liability insurance if you operate a motor vehicle on a public roadway? Has that been around since the 60s? Like Obama was, I don't know, 5 years old when we first compelled Americans to buy insurance. So don't say he's the only one that's done that. And I think that's fair. Because if you get in a car accident and that guy doesn't have insurance, he might have wrecked a whole lot more stuff than he can pay for. So it's a crime to not have liability cover the other guy in the accident. Now, here's the thing with health insurance. My father-in-law was the CEO of a hospital, and I have talked to him about Obamacare a long time. I was at his cabin for a week straight, 2 weeks ago. And he hates it, I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to tell you what I think, but here's what he told me. Walton doesn't have insurance. Everyone else in the room does. Okay, health insurance. He goes to our clinic, broken leg, and I don't know, needs a liver transplant too. And he gets like $1 million bill from the clinic, and he has no insurance. Will he ever pay that?
No.
Guess who has to pay for that? If you have insurance, the clinic knows your insurance will just pay whatever we charge you, right? They charge all of us more to make up for him not having insurance and not paying his bill. So you can't say. Now, that doesn't physically harm you. It doesn't break your leg or cause your liver to fail. But we have to pay for him. So the idea was, we do regulate health insurance now. You have to have insurance so you're at least covered. Now, some people say that's not fair to make me do that. That's a totally valid position. Some people say if we could cover everyone on insurance, then kids wouldn't have bankrupt parents just because of a hospital bill. Who's seen Breaking Bad? Okay, have you guys heard of the European version of Breaking Bad? So the guy's a chemistry teacher, he gets cancer, he finds out, and then he gets free cancer treatment. It's really boring. I'm making that up. Only in the United States does the high school chemistry teacher have to cook meth in his RV in the desert with the local druggie just to pay his bills, right? In Germany, you go, they're like, hey man, sorry, you have lung cancer. Here's the treatments, and you don't even need an insurance card. It's free. You know what's crazy? We pay more for Medicaid and Medicare than most socialized healthcare countries, but we get nothing. So, I got paid yesterday. You can see on your paycheck if you ever get one, you get money taken out for this, this, and this. Okay? For Medicare and Medicaid, I can just tell you. Please do, just a sec. Okay, I paid $65.81 to Medicare. I paid $500 in federal income tax this month. Now here's the thing. Who goes on Medicare in America? Old people. I'm paying for that. Now I'm not nearly the age to get Medicare yet. Yeah, what do I get for that money right now? Nothing. Most socialized healthcare countries pay about the same or even less in that tax, but then you get free healthcare. Free, because your taxes paid for it, but the doctor doesn't charge you when you visit. Now, we will have this debate at another time, but you see, back to the point, we are indeed mixed. Okay, the price of PlayStations is not regulated. The free market decides. But insurance, telecommunications, some things are regulated, so we are mixed. So is pretty much anyone in the world. Okay? You know, Cuba, China, Communist Russia, North Korea is completely planned. But they're a crazy country.
What if I just collect my unemployment check? I just get all that money and don't have to pay anything on it.
You have to pay taxes on unemployment at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's income. Basically, things you make money from, like the stock market, you have to pay taxes on.
Even if you get an unemployment check, you have to pay tax on the unemployment.
You have to do a tax return, yeah. And to be on unemployment, you have to qualify. You can't just quit your job and say, I want unemployment.
So compared to how much...
You do have to prove that you're trying to get a job.
So compared to how much, like, it depends how poor you are, how much you make a year off unemployment.
Okay.
Everybody makes the same.
It's based on your last job you had.
So that, yeah.
But your taxes are based on income. The more you make, the more of a percentage you pay in. Okay? Now, here's the last thing you need to know to ace your quiz. Go back up to social contract theory. We didn't really talk about this, but you guys are smart. Underneath social contract theory, do you have an example like the water bottles in class or something? Okay, return again under that. We're going to put one more thing under social contract theory. There are two types of contracts. One is what we call implicit, and I wrote this out right here so you could spell it. Implicit. Root word is imply. Okay, so write this down. Implicit contracts. It'll make perfect sense, I promise. Implicit contracts are understood or implied. Have any of you entered into any implicit contracts this week? All of you have. How's my syllabus work? Did you sign a piece of paper to say you'd follow it? But is your rear end in this desk implying that you follow my rules? That's an implied contract. How many have rules of some sort at home? Who signed a piece of paper acknowledging that you would follow those? Like you literally signed it. No, you'd laugh. Someone this morning did. That is an implied contract between you and your mothers. Because if you live in her house, it's implied you follow it. So here's what explicit is. Really simple. You actually sign it. Like a written contract. Here are the rules. If you do this, now sign your name. Who has entered into an explicit contract lately? How'd you get your laptop? You had to sign that document. Your employer probably has a contract. To get paid, teachers have to sign a contract. To be on a sports team or in a club, they might have rules and say, you have to sign this, like training rules. That's explicit. So think of it this way. Explicit contracts you can point to. Show it to me. That's explicit. Implied contracts are like, well, I still have to follow the rules, but I never actually sign anything. Does that make sense?
So would an example of an implicit contract be like, so say you're mowing lawns this summer, and you and the guy you're mowing your lawns for, he says, okay, I'll pay you $100 for this week to mow my lawns, and you guys shake hands, but you don't sign anything. Is that implicit or ex?
It's explicit.
But you didn't sign anything.
You laid it out word for word. For this, I'll do that. Now, if he said, hey, mow my lawn and I'll give you $25 per time, and you keep going back, it's implied by mowing his lawn, he'll give me $25. Okay, the big ones are, and I tease someone, the same person with the PlayStation recommendation, because he's my favorite one to tease. He says, allegedly, I don't believe him, he has a girlfriend. I said, okay, does your girlfriend have rules in your relationship? And he said, yes. I said, do you have to actually sign, like, in order to date Susie, you must do these things, and you can't do these things. Signed, Tommy Pitlock. And he laughed and he's like, no. And I said, okay, but you still know there's some rules what you can and can't do in that relationship, right? That's an implicit contract. By dating me, it's understood you won't be talking to girls from Pinedale or whatever. Okay? So you should now be able to ace your quiz. So if you go in Canvas, just on your little home page, keep your notes open. The little Q round icon means quiz. Theories and Systems of Government quiz. It's about 18 questions. You're going to have to give examples, you're going to have to characterize, and you're going to have to find one in the news. Just Google search it or go to CNN or Fox News or something. If you don't finish, you have till Sunday night. At midnight Sunday night, this shall close, and your answers shall not be accepted. Right? Because this is the college class. If you have a problem with my rules, what should you do? Leave. Move to Cameron. That's worse than Canada. And free health insurance. Okay? Does anyone have a question? The other two things you're responsible for on your to-do list. You should have already done yourself a video or you at least know about it. That's due Sunday night at midnight, 5-minute maximum. You have a discussion post, which you can do after your quiz, about your background politically, like news you watch, things you talk about at home or not at all. And then you have to take the compass test. It just tells you liberal, conservative, authoritarian. It's like a personality test for your political views to do that post. So if you go to that discussion, some of you have already done it. In fact, I got to point out the first guy to do my discussion post this week. Does anyone know who it was? No. He doesn't live in the United States anymore. Tim Heber is the first one to do his homework, and he's not even in our country anymore.
Oh, he posted. I saw that.
Isn't the year 2016 crazy? He's like, I didn't get to take government last year. I really want to. Can I take it online? And I said, sure. So he's the first one to post his discussion board. So you have been outdone by a German again, and he's not even in our class.
Can you tell us what political area he's in?
You can go see when you do your post. He's the first one. And I replied to him. You don't know him very well. He's in the Gandhi range. Okay, so you have selfie video, quiz, discussion board post, Sunday at midnight. If you have problems, ask. Otherwise, enjoy your